I heard from a wise person many years ago that we should do what we do best and go where it's needed most. And I think that's kind of at the heart of why I came to India as the national team coach. Besides the fact I love to coach basketball, I love to teach the game. I was a college coach in the U.S. for 25 plus years and then coached several years at the pro level NBA Development League. And I saw this as a great opportunity to really advance basketball and make a difference in a country in the game of basketball. Anyone that's coming from overseas, you give up many things. You give up your culture, you give up seeing your family more, what you're used to, the foods you normally eat. And so from that standpoint, I think we knew that coming in, but you never really realize it to the full extent until you live somewhere. But I think being a national coach has been a very good experience. I don't regret it at all. I would do it again here in India. There have been some adjustments, not only culturally, but even working in the framework of a position really working for the government. Sometimes the processes are a little different than I'd like them to be. But overall, I love the people. One thing about the players here in India, probably more in the United States, is they're craving to get better and they're eager to learn, and they're very appreciative for what I'm doing for them. Sometimes in the United States, where I'm from, players get spoiled and they have a lot. They start playing basketball when they're very young. They have all the best equipment. They get to work out in the best facilities, and so that's very different. Those that play basketball in India, where it's not one of the top sports, are really appreciative of anything they can get to help them improve and getting better facilities and getting training that's going to move their game ahead. So that's been rewarding in many ways. I've told people that have asked me how this position has gone in the United States. I've said, well, it's been challenging in many ways, but it's been very rewarding at the same time. My position here has been unique in that I'm not only coaching senior players, but I'm also overseeing the younger national teams. So it's not rare for me to go into a national camp of, say, the U14 team or U16 team and run the first week and a half or 2 weeks of practice and then hand it over to the Indian coaches. Basketball is basketball. As far as teaching the game, I love to teach the game. And, I'm starting at different points maybe here than I did in the States, but that's okay too. Because I think when you see these players go from point A to point B and really start understanding the whys of the game, and when you run drills, and you don't just run them to run them, and you say, this is why we're running them, and this is going to make us a better team, this is going to make you a better player, and they start, that light bulb goes on, they start understanding that. That's very rewarding. Another opportunity that I've had here as well is I'm coaching coaches as much as I'm coaching players, and there's some very good coaches here, but there are many that just need maybe a different approach, and someone that has been coaching at a high level for as long as I have. I hope I can bring something to the table and something they can learn from. It's always rewarding to see the team improve. I mean, there have been some real practical increases and some things that have shown their teams improved. We don't always see that, but I know from when I first started to where they are now, I've seen many of them improve greatly in a lot of the parts of their game. It's tough when your family is overseas. I have 3 children now. They're grown now, or at least they're out of the home. I have one in college, my daughter, and 2 sons that live in Los Angeles. And even though the world is closer together, and Skype and FaceTime and all those things that have brought the world closer together, where you can actually see them and talk to them, it's still not the same when you're 8,000 or 9,000 miles away. If they really have need, or they need to see us for one reason or the other, or we need to be there in situations where they get into circumstances where we could help them. So that's been a challenge. I think probably more psychologically than maybe practically, just knowing you're that far away from them. We knew that going in, and that's something we realized, and we do get to go back for periods of a time. But overall, this is my first experience of being a national coach, and I would say overall it's been very positive, and we feel like we're making a difference, and certainly people are making a difference in our lives. As we sit here in this facility at JP Green's just south of Delhi, this has been a year in the workings, and this is probably the best facility in India for training. And I know our players appreciate it, the coaches, and I think in the long run it's going to make our team better, because our practices, our training will be much more productive. You have to grab onto those victories, even when they're not all wins on the court. These are wins for the program, and I think they'll eventually will show up on the court. I think they already have, but they will even more so. One of the things I was interested in is really embracing another culture. This has enriched my life so much, more than even people I know or friends I have that have just lived in the United States all their life. And it's different to live somewhere than to travel somewhere. I've been all around the world for 2 weeks at a time, and you know the whole time you're going home, so it's always a honeymoon. But it's different when you live somewhere. But it has really opened my perspective, and it's given me a global outlook, and it really has changed my life in many ways, to the better. And again, there have been some frustrations along the way, but overall it's been great. I've been here now over about a year and a half, and I told somebody when I went back to the States, it felt like I was home. But when I came back to India this last time, I kind of had the same feeling, like I was back home. And that was the first time, because I think the first year I came back, things were still so new and so different, and it was still kind of an adventure, So when I came back this time, it wasn't so much of an adventure anymore. It was home. This is just where I live. This is how I go about my business. This is how I go to the market. These are my friends here, and so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I still tell people that India to me has been, I describe it as every day I see something I've never seen before. And that's probably still the case, but I'm not so shocked by it anymore. I'm not so alarmed by it. It's pretty status quo. It's pretty normal anymore. I'll say, hey, there's an elephant going down the street, or we just passed 6 monkeys, or things like that I used to be shocked over, and now they're just part of my life. So, and the traffic and all that, that's just part of life. So, but I think that's a good thing when you can live somewhere and start to call it your home. So.